Hey guys, so today I'm recording a very exciting video, at least for me it is. If you haven't read the title, which I'm sure you have, it is how I have grown my glutes and my legs tremendously. I think so significantly in the last 6 months. I'm going to give you some tips on how I've gotten to this point, and then at the end I'm going to show you 6 of my favorite glute and leg workouts that I incorporate in every single leg workout. Literally my absolute favorite exercises. But first, let's get into the tips. So my first main tip is it takes time. You will get discouraged. Try not to get discouraged, because you cannot grow your glutes in a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. You may see no progress, but you have to put in the time. It is hard growing glutes, but I promise, if you put in the time, the effort, your energy, you will see results. And when you start seeing results, it is the best feeling, I promise you. The next thing is you have to somehow find motivation. The first week of working out, you might feel great. You might get up every day and work out and work your glutes and do everything right. And then the next week, you're still going at it. And then a month later, you're just like, why am I doing this? And like, I'm tired. I don't want to go to the gym. You have to find motivation. I can do a whole video on the many different ways that I stay motivated to go to the gym. If you want that, just give this a thumbs up and I will get right on that. Those are my 2 kind of disclaimers there, because putting in the time and the effort and without keeping your motivation up, it's going to be really hard to grow any muscle on your body. 6 months ago, I decided that I wanted to change the way my body looked, make it more muscular. So I was going to dive into lifting, and lifting heavy. So I did a bunch of research which gave me so many different scientific ways of growing muscles, and I was overwhelmed, confused, lost. I was like, I don't know what to do. So I just went with the easiest step that I saw, and it was focusing on compound movements, isolation movements, and progressive overload. Those are the 3 things that I'm going to mostly stick on with this video. So what compound movements are they are your exercises that work multiple muscles at once. So your deadlifts, your squats, your lunges, hip thrusts, those are your compound movements, and those are the ones that are going to really add mass to your muscles. Your isolation movements are ones that obviously isolate a muscle, and they are great for burning out that muscle. They're great for imbalances in muscles. If you have like one bigger glute than the other, one bigger quad than the other leg, it really helps those, and it really does burn out that muscle. Those are great to add at the end of your workout. Progressive overload, short definition, is you're either adding weight. With progressive overload, you can, 1 week if you're doing 4 sets of 6, then the next week if you feel like you can do it, do 4 sets of 8 to 10 and just keep upping that. Or you can, if you were working with 80 pounds, try 90 pounds and just keep going up. Now kind of with my workouts, I have everything on my phone, so if I'm looking down, that's why I'm doing that. For the first 4 months, from November to February, I was working out glutes and legs twice a week. So I was incorporating quads, hamstrings, and glutes. I was mixing those 3 muscles and always throwing in calves both days. So I didn't have specific leg days. I was just doing a little bit of everything each leg day. Both of them were heavy days for me. I would do one on like Monday and one on Thursday. Then about 2 months ago, I decided I want to try to do 3 leg workouts a week, which is a lot for some people, and I'm still kind of deciding if I like doing 3, but I'm sticking with it for now. So I do 2 heavy leg days, and then I do 1 with just isolation movements, the bands. Those exercises, just very low weight but high reps to really burn out my muscles. And right now it's going good. You can try that way out if you want to, or just, I think 2 a week is plentiful. In my workouts, what I do is I always start off with glute activation. I'm sure if you've watched any other exercise person, influencer, whatever you want to call it, they will tell you about glute activation, and that is just waking up your glutes. So I always get a band, pop it around my legs, do random glute activation. You can look up videos on that, or I can make you a video as well. I have so many different ways that I activate my glutes, because your glutes are a muscle that honestly you don't use a lot. So it sleeps. Like your muscle is not awake and ready to go. So if you just jump straight into squats and into deadlifts, your glutes might not be activated, and they might actually not even be working at all, which means you're working out for no reason. Like, you're not going to grow your glutes. So the first thing you want to do is literally wake up your glutes before you go work out. I spend 5 to 10 minutes just activating my glutes. Simple movements, very easy, but they burn. Oh my god, once you feel your butt literally on fire, that's when you know they're awake, they're ready to go. Now you can start your compound movements, which is what I do next. I always start with my compound movements. All my energy needs to be put into those exercises. I always pick 2 to 3, whatever I'm feeling, and I just blast out those. Always upping my weights, always trying to add more reps into my sets. I always stick around 4 sets, but I'm always trying to add more reps. If I can get to 10 to 12 reps, I'm adding weight. Then again, if I can get to another 10 to 12 reps on that set, I'm gonna keep adding weight until I can only hit 8. But I'm never sacrificing my form. That is the big thing. Don't sacrifice your form for weight. Drop your ego at the door, because you will hurt yourself. So, but if I can get to 8 reps, then I know that that's the weight I'm good at. I'm gonna stick at that weight this week. And then next week, if I can push it up to 10 to 12, I know I can add more weight. And that's how I progressive overload with sets, reps, and weight. Then right after my compound movements, I move into isolation movements. I choose about 4 to 5 isolation movements and really just work on those. I do try to add weight on those as well, but normally my reps are a little higher on those because it's mostly like cable workouts and stuff. Those really burn my muscles. Like, they burn them out. Like, I'm done. Once my isolation is over, I'm literally dead. But they do help a lot. I work on those, and then after that, I'm literally done with the workout. I guess the big thing to take away from that is focus your energy on your big movements in the beginning, your compound movements. Work your way then to your isolation movements. Always start off with glute activation. Always forcing yourself to put more weight on if you can. I keep using the word force. Force isn't a good word. Don't underestimate yourself is what I'm saying. If you can get to 12 reps with perfect form and you're barely tired at the end, you go up in weight. Do it again. Keep going up, making sure your form is always there. Once you get to like, okay, you can't do any more, you're hitting like 6 or 8 reps, then that's the weight you need to be at. Continue at that weight until you can go up in reps again. Once you're at reps higher, maybe in a couple weeks, add more weight, but keep doing that. But your form has to be the #1 thing, because if you hurt yourself, you're not going to be able to work out, and then that defeats the purpose of everything. So that is kind of what I've been sticking with for 6 months. I pretty much stick with the same exercises. I just make sure I'm progressive overloading. The next thing is a big tip is you need to be eating. I don't believe that you have to be in a huge surplus of eating food in order to grow your glutes and muscles. I've been staying at maintenance and mine are still growing, but like, you need to eat. Food is your fuel, and not only is it your fuel, but it makes your workouts so much better. Like, if you eat good, you feel good, you're gonna have so much energy to be able to knock these hard workouts, because progressive overloading, compound movements, they're not easy, but they're so great for your body, and you need the food to be able to knock these out. So definitely focus on what you're putting in your body. I can do a whole video on that as well, what I eat in a day, what I eat before the gym, what I eat after the gym. If you would like to see that as well, I can get on that. Next thing is rest. You need to rest. I see people working on their legs 7 days a week, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, the only way your muscles are going to grow is at rest. They do not grow at the gym. They do not grow when you're working out. They grow when you're resting. Give your body sufficient time to rest. Listen to your body. If you're still sore from the first workout of the week, like super sore, don't go work out your legs again. Wait until you feel good and you feel like you're gonna be able to do a good leg workout again. Now I can go into my workout that I did a couple of nights ago. I do have a bunch of explanations on the exercise, some tips to keep yourself correct form. So that's why I have all of this room. I'm gonna put the clips of me doing the exercise here, and then this is just gonna be me kind of explaining it right here. So let's get into that. So the first exercise that I'm showing is the conventional deadlift. How I get into this exercise is I walk up to the barbell. I make sure that the barbell is over the midway point of my foot. I like to think of it as it's cutting my foot in half. I then bend down, grab the barbell, roll my shoulders back, and embrace my core so that I know that my back is straight. If your back is not straight, you're going to be using your back mostly, and that is going to hurt your lower back tremendously. From then, I push through the ground with all my might, and that will then bring the barbell up. So even though this is a pull movement, I like to think of it as a push movement, so it makes my mind use my legs and glutes more than my arms or any of my upper body. The barbell should be gliding against your legs, and then at the top, squeeze for a second, and then have the barbell glide back down your legs to the starting point, and do that over again. This whole time you should be really thinking about how your glutes should be feeling and how the exercise is making your legs feel all together, because glute to mind activation is really important. So really think about how your glutes are feeling, and they will be sore. Like, this movement works your glutes. The next exercise I'm showing is the hip thrust. I'm sure you've seen this everywhere for glute exercises. It is the holy grail of growing your glutes. How I get into this is I have my barbell weighted, I get a bench, I sit on the floor with my back leaning against the bench, roll the barbell over my legs, always have a cushion on the barbell. It will hurt if you do not have a cushion on the bar. Then I kind of use my elbows on the bench to push my back up, and then I always have my shoulder blades kind of positioned on the side of the bench. That is where it should be. You shouldn't be using your lower back as where the bench is kind of holding it. And your legs should be positioned to make a 90-degree angle at full extension. You can do shoulder width apart. You can do a little more than shoulder width apart. I tend to stick around shoulder width apart. And you just want to push up. The main point I have is always keep your chin tucked and your eyesight forward. If your chin is back, you're going to hurt your back, and that's not fun. So always keep your chin tucked, push up through your glutes. At the top, squeeze your glutes with your ribs tucked in. Always have your core embraced, and then go back down and restart. The next one I'm showing is a glute bridge. You're gonna wanna lay on your back, have a mat underneath you, roll the barbell over till it's over your hips. Make sure it has a cushion there so you don't hurt your hips. Put your feet flat on the ground, and then your chin tucked in constantly. That will make sure that you're not overextending and you won't hurt your lower back that way. You're gonna wanna drive all the way through your heels as you pick up your hips, and then at the top, I'm gonna squeeze for a second and then release the barbell. As you can see, what helps me remember to drive through my heels instead of my toes or anything else is I lift my toes off the ground, so I'm literally just using my heels, and that helps me feel it so much more in my glutes. My next favorite exercise is a cable pull through. So you're gonna wanna get to a cable machine, have the cable all the way at the ground, connect a rope to it, get the rope and hold it between your legs, walk a few feet out from the cable machine. Have your stance a little farther than shoulder width apart. I kind of have almost a sumo stance with this exercise. Then you're gonna wanna bend down. Your abs should always be engaged. And honestly, every single leg workout, have your core engaged. Bend down with a slight bend in your knees, and you're gonna thrust through your hips. You should not be using your arms or your upper body at all to thrust the weight. It should be all in your hips, your glutes, and your hamstrings. So as you're at the top, you're gonna wanna squeeze and then release and do it again. you should feel a very good stretch in your hamstrings and in your glutes. So the next exercise I'm showing is a sumo dumbbell deadlift. What you're gonna do is have a dumbbell, have your feet very wide stance. From there, you're gonna wanna have a slight bend at your knees as if you're doing a regular deadlift, just with your legs at a wider stance. Bend down, grab the dumbbells, slight bend at knees, push through your legs, pull the dumbbell up, making sure that your chest is up and your shoulders are rolled back and your core is always engaged so you're not hurting your back. At the top, squeeze your glutes and then go back down and release the dumbbell and then start again. This is just like a conventional deadlift, just with a dumbbell instead of a barbell, and your feet are at a wider stance. The big thing with this is to just make sure that your back is straight, your core is engaged, and that you're not feeling any pain in your lower back at all. The next exercise that I'm doing is the Bulgarian split squat. So you just want to get a bench or the step up thing, anything that you can rest your foot on. It should be about knee height length. Then you're gonna get into a forward lunge position. Always make sure, what I've been saying is that your core is engaged. Your hips need to be square in front. Don't be turning your hips at all. And then with your back foot elevated on the bench, your leading leg should be 1/2 meter or so in front of the bench. Play around with that, whatever feels better to you. If I stand any further than I am in the video, my knee tends to hurt, so it's kind of preference for you. Lower until your front thigh is almost horizontal, keeping your knee in line with your foot. Don't let your front knee travel beyond your toes. As you see, my knee never goes forward over my toes. And then drive through your front heel back to the starting position, again keeping your movements measured, so slow, not all over the place. I'm holding 2 dumbbells with this to make it a little more harder. If you're just starting off, you don't have to use dumbbells at all, but make sure you're driving through your heels and that your hips are staying square. That will definitely help. And then just move to the next leg.